What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews, and we're gonna do a Scream ranking, especially now with the films out, with all my reviews out. We're gonna do a ranking from 1 all the way to 5, and I'm pretty excited about it. These movies are, honestly, this is one of the best franchises because every movie is pretty good. You know what I mean? Scream 3 and Scream 4 get a lot of slack, but for some reason I loved both of them. Obviously, one is better than the other, but 3 definitely took its liberties. It was a little different compared to what we were used to from the first two, but I thought overall it was a good idea. It was a good idea. It lacked in some aspects, but overall, a really solid movie. And we're going to start off with my personal ranking. I'm gonna give it to you up close, and then I'm gonna give you the reasons why. So I'm gonna go with obviously part 1. I'm gonna go with the recent one, part 5. I'm gonna go with 2, 4, and then 3. Okay, so Scream 1, Scream 2022, Scream 4, Scream 2, Scream 1. No, I'm confusing you, right? Well, we're gonna get into it. Scream 1, to me, is the first movie in the franchise that I believe is #1 because it's not only the original, but it took us for a cinematic experience when it first came out. There was nothing like it at the time, even though we had a lot of slasher films, but nothing like this one. You know, we introduced to Ghostface and the fictional town of Woodsboro, which was amazing. It was basically Halloween's Haddonfield, right? Fictional, but it gets the point across. And the killers here are the reason why I choose part 1 over any other ones above it. Because I loved that the fact that the reason the two killers, which was Billy and Stu here, they take you for a loop. You know, in the beginning of the movie, you think it's Billy. Obviously, because he's the haunting boyfriend. He's kind of menacing. He has that look in his eye. And then throughout the movie, he ends up getting arrested, and they ended up clearing his name. So all of a sudden, you take him off your list. You're like, damn, who else? Jamie Kennedy's character? Is it Sidney's father? And then it ends up being Stu. And what I liked about it was they gave them a backstory. They gave them a reason they were doing this. Obviously, Billy, his father had an affair with Sidney's mom and eventually leaving Billy's mother. So obviously he had that inside. He was a tortured teenager, a tortured soul in all aspects of the word. And that was his reason for trying to get back at Sidney. He didn't like Sidney. He didn't love Sidney. Eventually, he just wanted to corner Sidney and eventually abuse her like he abused the mom. And then we come to find out that he slaughtered her mother. And he was basically trying to do the same to her with the help of Stu, who is a loony in this movie. But we all know that Sidney's able to gain an advantage against the both of them and temporarily, donning the persona herself in order to taunt them both before eventually killing Stu. Gale Weathers in this movie shoots Billy to stop him from obviously killing Sidney, who finishes off Billy with a shot to the head. So that's what made Sidney's character a badass character, and part 1 will go down in history as the best movie. 2, the movie now. Obviously, if you haven't seen it already, do not continue with this video. But spoilers, the two killers in the new movie is Richie and Amber, and it was kind of crazy because with Ghostface returning, and you thought the killers would have been a little different in this movie because Amber Freeman and Richie Kirsch, their names in the movie, they have reason also. And you find out later on, obviously, that the two have been plotting to create a requel to Stab 8 by killing people on camera and vlogging about them. And Richie has a distinguished voice as Ghostface because he has a built-in machine that distorts his voice as it was introduced in Scream 3, but we'll get there. And Amber when she does her kills in the movie, obviously she's the silent killer, literally, balls. And her body build, her slender, I was shocked that she was the killer. When you look at her, you're like, it's not believable. You know, Jack Quaid as Richie was definitely believable, but I liked what they did with the story. Richie happened to be the false lover of Melissa Barrero's character, Sam, to the moment in which he reveals his true colors and motives. And I thought that wasn't unique, but it was awesome to see on screen. And that was my reasons for putting that movie right next to the original. So 1, the most recent 5, and the next movie on the list to me was number 4. And the reason I liked number 4 was because they introduced a whole different concept. You have the 15th year anniversary of the massacre conducted by Billy and Stu at this time, and they had this new killer recreating events from the incident. And they also start filming these murders. That's where Scream 5 took a little from part 4. And I liked it. I liked it in a way. In this movie, you have Jill Roberts and Charlie Walker as the 2 killers. And Jill is the niece of Sidney Prescott, and she basically has her own motive. You know, she basically, you know, wants all the recognition. She wants to be a survivor to a massacre in which she gets all this and garners all this attention. And her main motive is she wants to be famous. That's why she ends up doing these killings. And Charlie, who loves and adores this woman, agrees to partner with her. But ultimately, in the end, she backstabs him, literally. And we see how that goes on, where, you know, you can never fuck with the original, right? Sidney definitely claims her right in that one, and she eventually kills Jill in this movie. But this movie, I liked it also because throughout the whole movie, it's very tension drive. It drives the tension throughout the movie. I thought, believe it or not, Judy Hicks for the longest was Ghostface in this movie, and comes out to be that she wasn't. So, you know, I loved part 4. That comes in number 3 in my ranking. Number 4 is Scream 2. I like Scream 2 a lot. He made his second appearance in this movie. And with this one, there's a series of murders occurring in Windsor College, where Sidney attends, and that's her current location. And the killers taunt Sidney and attempt to kill her throughout the movie. And you really don't know until, I definitely didn't know until the final reveal. That's what I loved about that movie. It could have been a little higher on my list, but, you know, after watching the most recent movie, it just still stuck in my mind. But here, it's Miss Loomis, Billy's mother, and Mickey Altieri, a film student, a friend of Derek's, in this movie. And they turn out to be the killers. And they have a motive also, you know. Obviously, Billy Loomis's mother, she wants revenge on her son's death. And all Mickey wants is the attention. He wants to stardom. Obviously, he's an upcoming film student, and he would like to get critical acclaim. So that was their reasoning, and eventually both are shot and killed also. I loved it. I loved it. And last but not least, part 3. I thought part 3 was an interesting story. They definitely tried different things, literally, in this movie. There's less stabbing in this movie and more kind of thoughtful kills. The story continues in this one, and you don't get the identity for a while. But throughout the movie, it's the way it starts off, you think it's Cotton Weary who's the killer. But it's not. It's Sidney's brother, lost long brother, Roman Bridger, who eventually was conceived by, you know, flings that Sidney's mother, Maureen, used to have, and he was abandoned. And so he has this animosity towards Sidney, and he wants to get her. Eventually, throughout the movie, you think he's just a cynical director who's trying to get a movie made, but he wants to get it made so bad that he continues to fuck up scripts and edit scripts, and people are getting tired of his ass. And, you know, he's abandoned. So, you know, that sparks his chain to want to kill Sidney, you know, and Dewey manages to kill Roman in this one, ending the series of murders based on his revenge. And ultimately, Sidney, like in the other films, has the last laugh and tells Dewey, aim for the head, as he shoots him in the head, and that's over. So those were definitely my ranking, man. I would love to hear yours. Leave your ranking at the comments, and let's have this Discord. Let me know why your ranking is what it is, and let's get it. To the next one. Have a good one.